Hello, welcome to the video. Today we're gonna take a look at the Master League again. Master League is back for 1 week until we have all leagues available again. And today we're gonna take a look at a very classic line that is super good for climbing in the current meta. We're going to have the Xerneas, we're going to have the Say-Swap of Mewtwo, and in the back we're going to have the Ho-Oh. Honestly, I only recently built the Ho-Oh. I had the Shadow Ho-Oh the entire time already. And I can't say having a normal Ho-Oh is such a blessing. Like, this Pokemon is so good in the current meta. Like, this Pokemon is insane. Our shiny Mewtwo also put in a lot of work. And Xerneas, honestly, it is kind of needed. Like, you can also use Zacian there. But I'm honestly not the biggest fan of it because it feels like it always kind of does something just like barely enough. Like, this thing as well. Like, this Pokemon has a lot of potential in the meta. It is very neutral against a lot of Pokemon, but it is very clunky. Like, it's just very, very clunky, and not the biggest fan. Still did its work. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't say that this Pokemon is like bad at all. Just like the playstyle is a little bit tricky. Here, of course, Ho, you could say as well, is kind of clunky. But actually, you do a lot of fast move pressure, and you just don't have the fast move pressure that you have here with the Xerneas. Xerneas doesn't do any fast move damage. But Xerneas is totally balanced in the way it is. Anyway, the opponent tried to catch here on a Solgaleo Sacred Fire. That did not work out for them at all. And so this is going to be a good game without even using our Mewtwo here, which is kind of hilarious. Oh no, we actually do it. We want to use it. We want to Say-Swap onto, let's find out, a Focus Blast. That is not going to be ideal. And so the opponent can just forfeit at this point, as he can go for a Shadow Ball, get them low. And I think the opponent had enough at this point anyway. And let's move on to the next one. We're going to have here Xerneas against Palkia, lovely force. Again, it kind of does what it's supposed to. It can counter Dragon-type Pokemon. We can stay in here, but again, we are kind of slow to get to those charge moves. And with that, Orchid here is going to already do half of our health. We can go for a Moonblast, but if they want to use a shield, it might get a little bit dicey. But as you can see here, we're going to be able to get the shield from the opponent. We might be able to use our own. We actually don't. We kind of try to go for a 2-shield advantage here for us, as they're going to decide to go into the Necrozma instead. Necrozma was actually the Pokemon that I wanted to use instead of the Ho-Oh, but in the end of the day, I feel like Ho-Oh was the better pick, as this Pokemon is going to be able to do quite a lot of damage, just generally speaking. Like, this Pokemon has a lot of farm down potential, and then just hits hard everything in the current meta with the charge moves that it has. I was thinking that's most likely just the Dark Pulse. It was just the Dark Pulse. I could have let the move go through, but at the end of the day, I'm going to end up now with a Ho-Oh with 100 energy, a Palkia that's swapping in against us, which is totally fine. First Brave Bird is going to already take them out, and in the back it's going to be a Zygarde, which is a little bit of a scary Pokemon to deal with, but I feel like we're kind of in a decent spot here right now. We still have some energy, I think, on our Xerneas. We still have some energy on our Ho-Oh. We're going to have our Mewtwo here, which can take a crunch, and so I feel like no matter what the opponent is going to do here, we should be able to come on top of. But let's find out if this is going to actually work out for us. We're going to try to go for a Side Strike. This is going to be able to hopefully get the knockout here. It is going to be able to get them kind of low though, not getting a knockout yet. But another one is going to seal the deal here. I'm going to be able to knock them out now and win us this battle. So, moving on to the next one, we're going to have here the Dialga. Dialga is going to be a Pokemon that is going to be quite decent for us, but again, like, it kind of does the deal that it's supposed to do here with these Xerneas, but never really perfectly does it. As you can see here, Close Combat is super effective, but it is not going to be enough to knock them out. And so I decided to swap out of here. And here's the beautiful thing about Mewtwo. Unless they're going to run some Dark-type Pokemon in the back, there's nothing that can swap into it. Like, there's literally not a single Pokemon. So if you get Mewtwo up energy, which is basically always the case as a Say-Swap, you are just always going to be in a good spot unless you're going to have an Yveltal Lurker in the back. And so here we're going to have the Lugia. I know that the opponent kind of wants to at least use a little bit of their energy, so I went for the bait, which actually is going to be quite important because now we are still going to be able to reach another Shadow Ball, which is going to be able to knock them out if they're going to let the move go through, which they do. And so we can align ourselves. In comes the Landorus, which is not really ideal, but at the end of the day, we can take a hit here. We can go for the Moonblast, which is going to be quite lovely. And if we're going to get some damage onto them, this would be perfect. But we're actually going to get the attack drop onto them here first, which is a 10% chance and is going to maybe matter a little bit. Doesn't really matter actually too much, I would say. But what we can do now is we can go for the full farm down. We're going to be able to go for at least a Brave Bird here because they should not have enough energy to go for a Stone Edge. Twice basically. Of course we cannot go for a Stone Edge twice, but like Sensei Storm and Stone Edge, and so Brave Bird going to be able to knock them out and we can win this battle. Next opponent, we're going to have the Dialga in the lead. That is going to be quite an interesting Pokemon as I swap out into the Landorus. Honestly, I feel like this meta might be even a meta where I can use my Swampert again. I have a Shundo Swampert for the Master League. If you want to see some battles as well with this Pokemon, let me know down below. Would like to see a little bit more of fun gameplay in the Master League for the next week, because honestly, like, we have Master League available, we have Fossil Cup. I feel like Fossil Cup is like already done at this point. Like, there's not a lot that I can really talk about there. So yeah, I'm going to most likely focus a little bit more on Master League for this week. Hopefully that's okay for you. I know a lot of people are going to most likely skip this week now, because it's also very close to the final weeks of the season. Hopefully we're going to get some news soon for the new season as well. Going to be very exciting, I think, with all the updates that are going to come to the game. But yeah, anyway, we're going to be able to get the shield here from the opponent. Show went for maybe 2 side strikes against them instead. And Dialga is going to be a little bit in a scary position here for us, as Ironhead does quite a lot of damage against us. We're going to get out the Mewtwo, we can catch the move onto our Ho-Oh. Not too sure if this was a smart play or not, but Side Strike is going to now connect against us, not going to do enough damage to knock us out straight away. And we are going to be able to guarantee basically here a shield from them, I would say. I doubt that they're going to go ahead and try to have only their Dialga against us right now, because they know they're going to go down to another charge move anyway soon. And likely we're going to get the attack drop here, because this might allow us to reach that last charge move in time, which is going to allow us to also still keep the energy on our Xerneas, which we otherwise had to spend here. And so Dialga's coming back in. We have to hope that we can somehow go for 2 close combat, and we're definitely going to be there. But if the opponent is going to win the CMP tie now, they're going to be able to win the battle as well, but they were not the move yet, and so we are going to be able to win this one with our Xerneas. Moving on to the next opponent, let's see what they're going to run. They're going to run a Palkia in the lead. Very lovely for us. We see this out straight away into the Landorus, and what you have to do here is you have to stay in. You're forced to stay in, take a hit, go for your charge move, swap out. That's the way to go, because the opponent always going to be up energy against the Mewtwo. That's always going to be the case. And so you need somewhat of an advantage. And here we're going to have, of course, the health advantage, where now I can take a hit, the opponent cannot take a hit, and so we can guarantee alignment. Well, we have to take a hit on our lead with us as well, which can be a little bit tricky later on if we end up in a scenario where maybe the Palkia gets a ton of energy, which might be the case here. It's still going to be the best way of playing this around, because otherwise you're just going to be always in a losing position, like if you swap out. So here we're going to be able to go for the side strike against the opponent. This is going to be able to get a ton of damage actually onto them. And we also were able to get it onto the CMP tie, which is going to be super important, because now the opponent is going to be totally energy dry. You can see what they have in the bag. Hopefully it's not going to be the Ho-Oh, it is going to be the Ho-Oh. And so yeah, it is going to be a little bit of a tough one. I can let the first move go through if I really want to be fair, and I decided to do exactly this. They're gonna get the attack drop here, and what I can say already at this point, this attack drop is going to matter quite a bit, because what we're gonna see here, we don't get an attack drop. And that is going to be quite hurtful, because the opponent goes for another move, and they're gonna go for another attack drop. And while it seems like, okay, yeah, it's kind of unlucky, of course, I don't get the attack drop at all, and the opponent gets 2 of them, or looking at this, don't get another attack drop either. You're going to see very soon as well that this is actually going to have an insane amount of impact onto the battles here right now. So Orchid coming through from the opponent, I have to go up to 2 moves so I can get at least another close combat off against the opponent's Ho-Oh, which we're gonna try to do here as well. Totally fine. Could have maybe went for the Moonblast, which might have been the better move to go for, but I did not want to risk a CMP tie. And what you're gonna see here is that the opponent exactly has enough health to survive at least those Incinerates. We can still get a draw, but if we did not get the double debuff there in the beginning, we would have been totally fine just winning it easily there as well. Next opponent, we're going to see a great lead for us, but they're going to swap out into the Necrozma. Necrozma is a little bit of a dicey Pokemon to deal with, because at the end of the day, like, neither of our Pokemon can really do too much against it. We can just try to do it basically in a team-up mission here. We're going to have the Ho-Oh now trying to go for the full farm down. We see even the Moongeist being coming through. But basically we guarantee alignment here, which is very important, because they have, of course, that Zygarde lurking there still. They can go for the full farm down, but this means also they're going to be locked into the matchup as well, where I can go to my Xerneas and get a ton of energy, as well as double resisting the opponent's fast move, which is going to be great. It's very likely going to be an Earthquake here, but I kind of want to keep the shields for my final Pokemon Mewtwo, because Mewtwo up shields is just insane. we're going to be able to get a shield here actually from the opponent, which I did not expect. And so Side Strike is going to be kind of free now as well. I don't think they're going to use a shield on the first one immediately, and they don't. And so we can just try to go for another one afterwards in time as well, because you're going to be able to outspeed the opponent, which is always kind of important. We are going to be in a very solid spot here. We can go for the Side Strike, force a shield from the opponent, or the knockout. Let's see. It is going to be the shield, which is totally fine. Now they're going to be shieldless as well. And yeah, very likely going to be a Fire Punch, but like, who is going to be able to call that really? I am not, but they swap out into the Zygarde anyway. What we have to do now is we have to definitely keep enough energy to go for one Side Strike, and I'm gonna risk it all for it, and it is going to be successful, as now they can swap out into my Xerneas, go for the Geomancy and also the Moonblast here to knock out the opponent, and in comes again that Groudon, which has no chance at all, because even if they want to go for double Fire Punch here, or like Fire Punch and Pressure's Blade, it doesn't matter. We're going to have the Side Strike already. That is going to be game. Goodbye to the opponent here. Next opponent coming up, we're going to have Necrozma in the lead, horrible lead for us. We're going to swap out straight away into our Mewtwo, just to be in a very, very silly spot here, to be fair. I'm going to be forced to use a shield on our potential Dark Pulse, and I have to kind of call the baits. I kind of have to try to, go for the correct moves all the time, and we are very much in a very difficult spot here, but I can at least go for some Side Strikes against the Palkia. That is lovely. I definitely take this one. We can go for another one. This is going to be able to get the shield, and now we are going to try to go for another charge move. The Side Strike is coming through, and this is going to be enough to get the shield, at least from the opponent. But also they're still going to be in a solid spot where I have to hope they can fully farm them down, I guess, with our Xerneas. But they have basically 100 energy, which is not ideal. And so when the first Aqua Tail comes through, the second Aqua Tail is coming through here needy as well. And so, the opponent's going to be quite low, I'm quite low. And the opponent is even going to be able to get to another charge move, which forces us now out of this matchup. I'm going to go straight into my Ho-Oh just to get out the opponent's Necrozma, which is generally speaking a very nice matchup. But they can actually still damage us here with the Dark Pulse, and as you're gonna see, we gotta keep the shield. We can go for a Sacred Fire. This is going to be able to easily get the knockout against the opponent. But it is still not over here. They're still going to have two Pokemon there in the back. We still have a shield advantage though, which can be quite a clutch, as in comes now the Everluck. Hisuian Everluck is going to be a Pokemon that we can at least hit neutrally with the Sacred Fire, doing a ton of damage and also getting the attack drop at the same time. Remember, we still have a move stored onto our Xerneas, which might come in clutch here as well for us. As the opponent decides to go for the Ice Wind, we can go for the Brave Bird, and as they swap out, this game is over in any way. We can knock out the first Pokemon here, and we still have a move stored to knock out this Pokemon, but even the Incinerate is going to be enough. As you can see here, a very good set for me, with only, like, I think the Lostheart coming basically from that draw that we had in the beginning. Moving on to the next one, we're going to have here the Palkia and also the Xerneas coming in here. It's Zacian coming in here against the Xerneas. We're going to see that we swap out into the Ho-Oh. Make a little bit of a silly mistake here. Maybe we should have went for Moonblast first. Wild Charge is coming in. Going to be able to be super effective against us, and so this matchup is not ideal at all here. So yeah, Wild Charge going to get shielded from me. They're going to have a dropped attack. A defense here, which is going to be okay for us as well, because now we can do a ton of damage with Incinerate. We didn't get the attack drop, which doesn't matter, because we kind of have to rely on our shield, trying to rely on fully farming them down here and getting a ton of energy against whatever they want to bring in next. It's going to be the Palkia, which is fine. This Brave Bird is going to be quite lovely for this matchup, doing a ton of damage against them. And now it is down to Xerneas against whatever is in the back. It's going to be the Primarina, where we can go ahead and go for the Moonblast to do like neutral damage usually, but here getting the shield is actually quite important, because now we can overfarm it quite a bit with the Mewtwo, and hopefully we still survive a charge move here. Very important that we survive this one. This Iron Voice is not enough. Later on though, if the opponent is going to have Hydro Cannon, which is going to be available very soon, this matchup is going to change quite a bit, so be aware of that. But anyway, we're going to see here the Side Strike is going to be able to connect. In comes the Palkia again. We still have our Xerneas, and so that is going to be a good game. Nothing they can do. They might be able to go for one more charge move, but we have at least that close combat stored soon. This is going to be able to knock them out, and we can move on to the next opponent. Moving on now, let's see what this is going to be. It's going to be the Dialga in the lead. That is going to be quite a good lead for us usually. But again, as I said before, like those are like the matchups that are kind of very narrow for the Xerneas. Like if you go for the close combat, you drop your own defense, which means one Iron Head is going to be enough to knock us out. But here we're gonna swap out basically kind of similar to spacing into our Swap here. Both of the Pokemon here, by the way, interestingly enough, need 5 fast moves times 2 turns basically to get to their own charge moves, which is making this matchup very, very fast in terms of the charge moves that we can get, but also, yeah, a very neutral one for both sides. Usually the Mewtwo is winning CMP tie as well for this one, so we are definitely in a favorable position there, as we're gonna try to CMP tie onto the opponent with going for one extra fast move before that. The opponent is going to let the move go through, which is fine for me. They go back into the Dialga, which is fine for me. It is showtime for our Ho-Oh. Goodbye Mewtwo, you did a great job there. Ho-Oh comes in and the opponent hops into their own Ho-Oh, and I can just go straight for the hard-hitting Brave Bird, to be fair, which is going to be forcing the, I want to say the shield from the opponent, but somehow they let the move go through, which I feel like is quite an interesting choice. And so we are going to be able to take the Sacred Fire. The opponent is going to be able to use a shield here very likely against the close combat. But they're actually going to use a shield here. They're going to be able to go for the full farm now. Now it's down to Ho-Oh against Ho-Oh and whatever they have in the back. We try to go for the full farm now here. We're going to use a shield onto their Brave Bird. Great shield by us as we can go for the full farm now. They have in the back the Dialga, and so we can go for the first Sacred Fire here. This is going to be able to knock them out, and this is going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and let me know in the comment section what kind of Master League Pokemon you want to see as well, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.